100 nights, no rest, no break. Dreams on my mind, but my hands still ache. Bands in the safe, cash on the low. Build it from the ground, watch the empire grow. Empty fridge, now the table stacked. Used to pray for change, now I'm counting racks. The grind don't stop, no pause, no wait. Bands in the safe, that's my fate.
Hello everybody, welcome to my lair. My name is Tara, and this is my cat, Moxie Oakenshield, king under the mountain. Isn't he handsome? Yes, he certainly is, and what a day, what a day, what a day to debut my new look and my new digs here. Because today, without a doubt, was a bit of a black eye in the Delta Brake system, that's for sure. We'll go and have a look at it in just a moment, but yeah. Done some visual updates for the place, and we've got a bit of a new schedule. You'll see as we go through the show today. But let's waste no time and go into the daily replay. This is where we're basically what we do already. We're going to go and have a look at how the system performed today, and we'll also do the orb, and we'll also do some other things I've got coming later on. But of course, the flagship is the Delta Brake system. And yeah, man, today was an absolute black eye. Another red day, unfortunately, and it was just under 4,000 loss. It was more than that halfway through the day. It was around 5,200 at one point. Really bad, really bad. And this is an opportunity for me to go into teacher mode here for a second. One of the things I spent way too long to learn was the lesson of what makes a really good trader. It is not how much money you can make, it's about how much money you can not lose. And if you pause and think about that for a second, today is a perfect example of that. This system repeatedly spits out thousands and thousands of dollars on the daily. And even in yesterday's video, I was talking about lowering it down. The funded settings are toned down, and I was talking about lowering the risk. Well, today has absolutely confirmed that. We're absolutely going to be turning down the risk. And I need to do a little bit of dialing in since we did the update. The new version is so much more trigger happy, I guess you could say. It's so much easier to get into a trade. It's easier to take losses. And because the system is so capable of spitting out $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a day, we don't need that. Not for prop firms, not even close. So we can reduce that. Still get the results that the old system got, like back in April. Amazing, amazing results, life-changing results. And if we can achieve that with this newer version, the new updated version, with half or even like a third of the risk, we absolutely should be doing that. So I've got some ideas. I think I already know what those settings are going to be updated to, and I'm going to test them over the next couple of days. We'll talk about that a little later on in the show. I'll actually just show them to you. But for now, you can see at the top here, I actually busted out the original version. This is the original update, the very first one. And you can see even here, it was closer to 3,000 halfway through the day. That's the worst I ever saw of the old version as well. And I don't know, man, there was something about the price action today. I think someone got squeezed, or someone did some squeezing. And even here, there's like, I really kind of nailed that. Started thinking that. Let me get rid of the old version here. Here, I'm going to turn on one of my other indicators called volume gaps. And I'm going to show you a bunch of confluence here in this area. So we start ripping. And for one, the candles were huge today. Massive volatility. And the trades kind of sucked because we got into a loss here. Okay, whatever. It's not the end of the world. We then get into a good buy here, but we get stopped out break even before it goes on a big move. Okay, that sucks. This trade, this one hurt. So this one sucked. So we get into a sell, right? Plenty of reasons to come back down, clear out these levels. It rips straight to our stop loss, then comes back down to the break-even profit, break-even point. I'm like, oh, bro, really? You're going to do me like that? I was like, okay. So we're down 2 at this point. We get into another break-even. And then we get another loss where it pulls back just enough to hit our stop loss and then turns around while getting into another loss. So 2 losses in a row where, it's just one of those days. Today sucked. And you know what? Reds happen. the indicator is pretty good at recovering them. Even if it ends up down for the day, it's pretty good at recovering losses that it takes. But this area here, I want to show you this, and then we'll go into the changes that I'm going to be making, because you have so much confluence here. London high, previous day high, and a 90-minute high all get swept in this area. Price then rolls over and breaks structure to the downside, and we get into a really nice short sell here. And we get some impulse here, and also because of the way that the indicator works, without going into all the details, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 confluences stacked here with a volume gap. This blue line here, this is a volume gap. There's a gap there in the candles. The volume gaps are part of the volume gaps indicator. 99% of the time these gaps get filled. That's why I built this indicator, to keep an eye on them. So we've got these 3 levels at liquidity levels. We start rolling over, we start breaking structure, and we have a very clear target below us. And then the indicator gives a sell here, right? So all of this confluence plus the indicator seeing, for one, volume to back up the sell position, delta bias to back up the sell position, and candlestick analysis, because the indicator does all of that all at once. So it sees all of this. So we've got 7 to 8 different confluences all saying point down. And then what happens? We absolutely rock it. On low volume, by the way. See how the volume, like, it ticks up towards the end of the move, but not the first half. So yeah, I'm calling a little bit of shenanigans today, but you know, it's the market. It happens. The market is designed to punish logic and wreck the most amount of participants all at once. So, you know, if enough people are going short, like I was expecting to go here, well, it's going to go the other way. It's going to wreck people. That's what it's designed to do. So yeah, painful day. Painful day. There's no two ways about it. And we're going to be sizing things down for the new update. The old trade setup settings. The trade setup itself is still the same for now, but the risk management, because the indicator is allowing more trades, we absolutely can and absolutely have headroom to be turning these things down, and we're going to. I'm just going to do a day or two of refinement, and we'll be able to lock this in, and we'll be good for it. I've got a couple things I'm going to check as well and test. But yeah, it's a shame, because I was really hoping that today would be a good day. Because at the start of New York, if you watched yesterday's video, I've split up the overnight session. And these 2 dashboards at the bottom here, they're just for tests, live market tests, okay? Asia, I have a theory that Asia is a good market to trade. 3 days in a row, Asia has performed the best. It's very interesting. London, I think, is the worst session to trade. So much so that we only have this dashboard here to be a reminder of why we're never going to trade London. London shit the bed yet again. Asia, lowest number we've seen on Asia on the new update, but still green. It was the only part of the day that was green. So Asia continuing to crush it. New York, unfortunately, just had this absolute bleeder of a day. And I think it was, I don't know, there's something about the market that today, the way the candles moved, the way it's so much about it just didn't seem quite right. We got some good trades, like here there was a great sell here that kind of made up for this loss, but for the most part all the trades we got in barely made anything. They made like $100 to $200, and we took a few losses that kind of just stacked. So price just went against us today. It happens. What do you do? What do you do when this happens? You panic, you abandon your plan, and trading's a scam, and you never do it. Right? You know what I mean? It's like, no, of course not. You don't strategy hop. You stay where you know there's a real edge, a proven edge, and you shrug it off and you carry on. And I'm saying this having blown up an eval account today. I traded this, and this went below 4,000. It went and just wiped out my, rest in peace, my lucid trading 150k eval that I started this week. You barely began to live. But, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This is why we utilized prop firms as part of this strategy. It enables us to get into the market at a very, very minimal cost. I didn't lose $4,000 today. I lost $150. That's nothing in the trading world. That is nothing, considering that this strategy, this system, has the potential to make 5 figures, tens of thousands a month. this is nothing, right? You shrug it off, you get back up, you dust yourself off, and you carry on. I've got another eval that I'm firing up tomorrow. Well, maybe not tomorrow. I'm going to do some tests tomorrow. I've got some ideas. But, let's... and even the funded toned down shorter version, even that took some L's. And this, in my opinion, this is too much. This should not be happening on a funded. And this is too much for an eval. We don't need to be taking this type of risk. But let's move on to the results. And here they are. So we're still green massively for May. You can't see my mouse, can you? There we go. Yeah, so the funded is still up. Unleashed evals is still up, but it's taken some hits. It's undeniable, right? But we've seen that it's perfectly capable of spitting out these really, really good days. Last week, Thursday, Friday last week was really, really good. And Asia has been absolutely sending it. Look at Asia. Asia's up 11,000. So there is massive potential with all of this. And you know what? We've made some updates. We've made some changes. A little bit of refinement is part of staying adaptable to an ever-changing dynamic of a market, right? So I try not to do this too much, but it's required right now. And from that, we've kind of summed up our results. London continues to shit the bed. Asia continues to impress. New York has been a bit of a mixed bag, and we need some refinements. So, ta-da! Hello, welcome to the Dev Bench. This is where I'm going to discuss the actual changes that I'm planning on making. And so much so, you can see I've got my buddy Moxie with me here. And as we dive into this stuff, here's what I'm thinking of changing. The actual stop loss range is currently, It's 40 points. I think this is too much for the new updated version. So that is one of the things I'm going to change, potentially. And one of the things I'm going to test. One of the other things I'm going to change, I'm actually going to change the time frame. So let's go over to TradingView. So this here is the new version. Let me get rid of the old, don't need that. Why are none of them working? Let me get out of replayer. So here we go. Gonna let them load. And what we're looking at in here, let me just clear everything out because we're not gonna need it. Actually, I'll keep that on. So we're not gonna use Asia. We're not gonna use London for now. Just gonna focus on funded and unleashed. What I've done in the settings, I've changed a couple of numbers. The low range has been lowered ever so slightly, a couple of points. And if I go up here, this is the main change I'm going to be looking at and is the one I'm most interested in seeing what happens here. I'm going to potentially cut the stop loss range in half. So this is going to bring our win rate down, but it's going to cut our losses per loss in half. And as you can see, if I can... I'm going to have to do some refinements because it doesn't like loading every time in the 15-second chart, which is the other thing I'm going to change. I used to trade, and actually do often trade whenever I'm trading manually, I will trade the 15-second. And it's actually not too bad to do. Now, I know that not everyone has the premium versions of TradingView available, but the structure is the same, and loading this up on it today, hopefully it loads in a second, it had a really good set of results today on the 15-second slightly tweaked settings. Now, it also, there we go, finally. So it did close to 7,000, right? So this is no limits, half the stop loss range. And yeah, so no limits, same times, half the stop loss range. This might be the answer I'm looking for. Because if I go now, so this is a 15-second, so I'm going to test this on the 15-second over the coming days. I'm also going to test it on the 1 minute. Now, the market has closed, I think. Yes, it has. So the market's closed. So I am going to have to check this up in replayer right now because it's got this weird thing about the newer version to get the accuracy that we needed, had to sacrifice historic data. But this should load up now. So this is that same setting, the 20-point stop loss instead of 40. This is it on the 1 minute chart that we normally run things on. So you can see here on the 1 minute, this single stop loss distance range change has lowered our win rate significantly. Right? However, it performed much better as a result. So we don't care about, getting the best looking stat. We care about the money at the end of the day. And while the funded did still struggle, the Unleashed was much better. It had time to recover, and it's perfectly capable of recovering. Here's the thing, though. If I go back to the 15 second, there we go. So this is it on the 15 second, and here's an example of some of the things I'll have to change. This tends to happen. Runtime error. The script takes too long to load because it's maxed out. It's really right up there on the limit of all the things that I can have an indicator do within TradingView. So I would have to simplify some bits to run it on the 15 second. But when it does load, it has fucking phenomenal results. And this is with that 20-point stop loss instead of 40. And this up here, this is the old system running on the 15 second. It didn't do too well because it was a bit stricter on the levels. There weren't quite as many, and they were right on the edges. The pullbacks were a bit more frequent on the 15 second, and you would just end up taking too many losses. And like this was a pretty bad day for the old system. But the new system seems to be really suited for it. So yeah, overall, there's some options for me here. And I've got a lot of things that I'm going to be able to test over the next couple of days. 15 second, I'll probably have to do some cleanup in the indicator for it. I will check the 15 second, I'll be checking the 1 minute. If the 15 second works, I like the 15 second, I've used it before. So I'm very keen to see how this bad boy behaves. But for now, I'm going to test this over the next couple of days, and we'll see what the results are. If it's inconsistent, it's inconsistent, and we'll just refine the 1 minute. But yeah, that's it for the dev bench today. And that's it for today, really. What we're going to do now is go back over to here. Oh, hey, here I am back in my lair with my boy Mox hanging out. So yeah, today was a red day. It sucks. Shrug it off, carry on. Back to it again tomorrow. I'll be firing up another eval probably next week at this point. I can't imagine I'll start a new one coming in towards the end of this week. I'll start one up next week. I will do some tests on the 15 second, and I do expect the change that we're going to go with here is actually going to be changing things to be the 20-point stop loss range instead of 40. The 40 was refined for the old strategy, the old system, old version of it, I should say. The new one, being a bit more forgiving, probably benefits from actually not having such a wide room for it to... The idea was with the old 40-point range, give it some room to breathe. You get the breakout of a actual full-on structure pivot level, and you'd ideal scenario, it would pull back just a little bit and then carry on. And that was the move you'd be catching. Well, if we're one of two things here. For one, we already are using the more relaxed settings, so there's more frequent trades. So if it's going to go against you, it's better to just get out sooner. Or if we're going to the lower time frame, it's better to just get out quicker anyway and just let it set up to the next trade and let the quantity of trades do the work for you. But anyway, that's it for today, folks. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.
Yeah, now it's home like a battle cry. Circuit spark